You see, Plato says, a nation who does not educate the young will not prosper. It's important to understand that. It was Samuel Johnson who said that the purpose of education, is to create expert in all things. So, let's think about this. Where are we? What are we doing? You and I can see that we have a what now? We must have a what? Sense of urgency. You see, after 15 years of teaching and doing leadership training, I had to come to a major decision in my life last year. Well, I want to say 2012. Do I continue in that path of teaching and ignore the fact that we have a need that goes beyond my work? It's a global need. See, at that time, my daughter was 4 years old. And in 2011, actually 2010, I watched a video that was created by the National Geographic Foundation. You can Google it. 7 billion population. Just Google that. I watched that video. And the video showed that the world was moving in, by the end of 2011, from 6 billion in population to 7 billion. And the video showed, second by second, how many babies were being born. But the goal of the video was to show the world that as the population of the world is growing, and we have reached this population explosion, there's going to be more problems. More sanitation problems, more shelter problems, more education problems, more wars, political problems. And it dawned on me. I said, what? My daughter's 4. That means, they said that by 2045, the world will be 8 to 9 billion people. And I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. Around that time, she'll be in her 40s, 50s. Who's going to be leading in the world? Who's going to be the leaders? Because right now, as it is, major corporations, educational institutions, district leaders, policymakers, the people at the top are baby boomers. Are you with me? Right? So in front of you is my card. So I got this vision that by 2020, I need to do my part. I need to do my part to help my daughter, to help the next generation. And I need to start at every level. To go and help people go and understand what transformational leadership is all about. So I started my consulting firm. Transformational leadership, as I said earlier, is becoming, and acting upon transformational leadership principles that can empower others. You go through the process of training, retraining, learning, unlearning, so that you can be the best that you can be in your field. So I've been traveling around the world training business leaders, educational leaders. I've done conferences for accrediting bodies, going to churches, community activities, young, adolescents, adults, because there is a vacuum of leadership taking place right before our eyes. Our kids, who tomorrow will be politicians locally, business leaders, are not being prepared. first of all, we're not doing a good job of teaching them so that they can learn the skills and leadership principles necessary to lead well. Remember, more problems are going to exist globally because of massive population increase. You see the sense of urgency? Are you really seeing it? When you watch the video, hopefully you will have a better understanding of why I'm so passionate about transformational leadership. So where are we in terms of education? The headlines in education. This is what we have. Our new superintendent in Broward County, when he first came on board, this is what he said. This is his goal. This is the vision for Broward County. Educating today's students for what? Tomorrow's world. Should we say tomorrow's world, or why don't we just venture to say today's world? Right? I mean, our kids have technology in their hands, and they are connected to the whole world through what? Technology. And how are they using it? Secondly, the U.S. Department had a town hall meeting, the Secretary of Education. She said, educating the next generation to do what? To compete. That's the headline. The UN, internationally, UNESCO says, education for what? For all goals. So, we have been through this process for the last 5 to 7 years of developing what is now called the Common Core standards, right? And right now there are 45 states that have already come on board. Florida, by next school year, is supposed to fully implement this new set of standards. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Common Core is no longer what we're calling in the state of Florida.
I'm sorry?
Common Core is not what we're implementing or calling it in the state of Florida.
Right, you have a new name for it, but it has
Florida
to do...
standards.
Right, I understand that.
Because we're Florida, we do it differently.
Right, and I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. Because this is important. I want this to, I want to bring this home to you. I want you to realize the gravity of the situation. And I want you to understand your role. Because my mentor, Dr. John Maxwell, says everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And we have a role to play as leaders. All right? So I'm not going to spend so much time talking about this because you already know it, but I included it in the PowerPoint so we can see where we are and why we do need to implement some principles with this idea. Who, what, we know that. It's already in your PowerPoint. I'm not going to spend time, but the idea is they want to implement the standards by 2014-2015 school year in Florida. You with me? So, we know the purpose. They want to have fewer, clearer, higher standards for education, so on and so forth. But here are the difference that they say this is going to bring. Changes in student expectations, as well as changes in the way we provide instruction. So, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. We're going to move forward into where we need to be, because the goal of this whole Common Core thing is anchored in what? It's anchored in college and career readiness. So we talked about this at the beginning. The goal of education is not just a college degree. Is that right? Do we all agree? The goal of education is to prepare the learners for what? For life. For them to become productive citizens. All right? Now this is the difference between the American system of education. I have traveled to Germany, Africa, and other countries. What they've done is they provide different pathways for young people, kids, learners, through their educational system. So for instance, in Germany, when I went there in 2008, they have 3 tracks. One is if you want to be a scholar in academia, generally it's 3 tracks. They're gonna provide a way for you to be trained to do academic training well, right? So you can get a college degree, postgraduate degree, postgraduate, so on and so forth. Then if you're looking at vocational, they have pathways for that. But if you have other interests, whatever that may be, art, humanities, they have pathways for that as well. Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask you a question? Because I'm familiar with what the Japanese do in English. How early in a child's education do they assume a child has the capacity to decide what they want to do? Because most of us, at some point or another, change our thoughts, whether in college or 16 times. And here we have kids in 3rd grade and systems being trapped so that their careers are locked, and perhaps they are not.
Right. Now, my take on this is this. We do understand that at an early age, they will not know. But we need to provide a system that enables them, when they are ready, to make that transition. Our system is not structured that way. That's simply what I'm saying. And we need to provide a system whereby they can be empowered when the time comes to do that shift, transition. Now, there was an article, I don't think, did I mention that earlier? An article that was published last year by the Associated Press.
Yeah, you did.
I mentioned that. $15,000 for students were spent. And we're number 1 in terms of spending. But look at the result.
But we're number 1 in disconnect from asking the practitioners what works.
Why? Because we allow, forgive me if I say this, with the system, we allow special interests to have more say in our system, rather than practitioners who can come in with best practice